Pittsburgh Steelers fans, welcome back. That's right. It's Wednesday night. It's The Standard is the Standard, the BehindTheSteelCurtain.com flagship podcast. I'm Jeff Hartman, editor of said website, BehindTheSteelCurtain.com. With me, as always, my partner in crime, Lance Williams, out there with the cruise ship that's parked. It's parked permanently. What's up, Lance? How's it going?
Yeah, man. I mean, this thing is really surreal, man. I rode past it on the way home. I rode past the cruise ship that is docked in the Oakland Bay. It's big as can be, and man, it just looks like a coffin, essentially a floating coffin.
We're not going to talk about too much about the coronavirus. We will be getting into that and the Pittsburgh Steelers response to it a little bit later in the show. But first and foremost, we want to welcome everyone that's listening. I want to mention, we've said this before, but this website, this I should say, this podcast, whether you're watching live on YouTube, whether you're listening on audio platform, is a stem or a branch of the website BehindTheSteelCurtain.com. And so I encourage everyone to go to BehindTheSteelCurtain.com and check out some of the articles. A lot of the podcasters here, actually all but Lance, are writers for the website. And you can check us out. We write everything from breaking news to mock drafts, et cetera, et cetera. It is a great website, so make sure you check that out. Make sure you also subscribe to our channel if you're watching live on YouTube. Set up the notifications so that you don't miss a show. Let's get right to things, Lance. We're going to go into winners and losers, either or, that type of gist for the show. We're going to get to that, and it's going to be really interactive. So keep a close eye on the show here in the coming minutes. But before we get that, there was some news this week. Dave talked about it on their shows last night, but I want to get your take. First and foremost was yesterday morning, Steelers, Cowboys, Hall of Fame game, early August. What are your thoughts?
I like it. I mean, many of you know that I'm turning 50 this year, and me and Jeff were just talking about it off air. That sounds like a great 50th gift. Going to the Hall of Fame game, watching Troy and Cowher get inducted, being around all those Steeler fans, giving out about 500 cards for the show. That sounds like that could work. Like, we might get a summer boost if I go to the game. I'll just give out a bunch of cards, and that just sounds like an awesome idea.
Yeah, I mean, boy, does the NFL know how to really they know how to put things together. They saw Jimmy Johnson. They saw Bill Cowher getting in. They saw Troy Polamalu being the headliner for this year's class. And like, you know what? Let's put two of the biggest fan bases, the most followed teams, the best fans, Steeler fans, and let's put them together in the Hall of Fame. Here's what I found very interesting is that the Steelers played the Cowboys this year. And typically, teams don't play one another in the preseason. They're going to play each other in the preseason. Now, it's happened before, but typically it's that fourth game where no one's playing. It's literally, it's Carolina, or I think one year is Philly. I mean, no one's going to be playing in this game either. If you're thinking you're going to see Ben Roethlisberger in Canton, Ohio throwing a football other than warming up, you're not going to see Ben Roethlisberger throwing a football in early August. So I thought it was a great move by the NFL. And they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. And if you are a Steeler fan and you want to go to an event, go to a gathering of Steeler fans that's not necessarily at Heinz Field, but would be really, really awesome, like Lance said, that would be the weekend. It just really stinks that Donnie Shell's not getting in at that time. They're doing a separate induction ceremony in September, and he's getting in then. It's the stupidest thing ever. Why they wouldn't have all the Steelers get in at the same time, I have no idea.
The jacket's still gold, right? It's not like a maroon jacket.
It's a gold jacket. Yeah.
It's not like a junior Hall of Fame. Oh, well, it's the junior Hall of Fame. We're going to induct you guys. And so, what? That makes no sense.
Well, because there were so many people in this centennial class, I get it. That like I told you when they first made the announcement, my gosh, that would be like a 6-hour event with all the acceptance speeches. So I get breaking it up. I just don't know why you would break up the Steelers. I mean, get them all at once. Get as many black and gold fans there to enjoy it. Now Donnie Shell, that guy had to wait so long anyways. Now he's got to wait again. He's got to wait till September.
Yeah, and he can't go in with his Steeler family. So that's
exactly.
Yeah, well, NFL gets some stuff right, but they always inevitably get a lot of stuff wrong.
That is true. And the one thing that the Steelers didn't get wrong was cutting Dante Moncrief just in time so that they get their compensatory draft pick. That's right. That was announced yesterday as well, yesterday afternoon. Third round draft pick. I believe it's pick 102, maybe. Le'Veon Bell's gone, butt naked and robbed, as we call him here. And they get a third round pick. What are your thoughts?
I love the third round pick. So that's for Bell and Moncrief, so that's the total compensation for both of them.
Yeah, that's just for Bell. It's the overall equation.
Okay. Yeah. I love it. They didn't have a third rounder, so I mean, you slot that in. Or did they have a third rounder? I'm looking at it here. No, they didn't have a third rounder. So great. That gives them additional picks. So now they have a second rounder, a third rounder, 2 fourths, a fifth, a sixth, and a seventh. And
I don't think they have a fifth. I don't think they have a fifth.
Oh, they don't have a fifth. That's
that was
right.
a dead Bush trade.
Yes, right. It says no pick. Traded 2 picks, 1 fifth. No pick. So third round picks are valuable. So, you need to hit. So it'll be of utmost important that they hit from that second and that third rounder. Third round pick could be that wide receiver or that tight end that everybody wants them to draft. And so, with the draft, the more bites at the apple that you get, it's always good because it's a random thing. I mean, it's hard to pick guys that can play quality football. So having a third rounder is still a valuable and coveted pick.
If the Steelers are doing the win now mode, which we talked about on multiple shows in the past week or so, they can trade that third round pick. Keep that in mind. Those compensatory picks at one time, they are now tradable, and they weren't at one time. I wouldn't be shocked if the Steelers maybe make a move up, whether it's in the third round. Maybe they if they want to move up in the third round, early in the third round for a prospect they really like, they say, hey, you can take our 102 and we'll give you one of our fourths. And they can move up or something like that.
Typically, I have to find the calculator. It's typically out there.
That's right. I forgot that you had that calculator.
Yeah, the draft calculator where you put in the 102, 104, and it'll give you where you could presumably jump. I mean, that I'm for sure those 2 picks will get you higher in the third round. I don't know if that's enough compensation to get you in the second, but if it could, I mean, if you can get 2 second round picks, I'll take that instead of the third and the fourth. I'll take the 2 second rounders, then draft again in the fifth and get the 2 offensive players, get the tight end, get the wide receiver, get the playmakers that they need on that offense. I would love if they could do that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Now, Kenneth McNair, he says, if the Eagles never cut LJ Fort and the Steelers cut Moncrief, would that have changed anything? I don't think so. It was because LJ Fort got cut that they had to cut Moncrief to get that comp pick for Bell. So it was an easy decision because he couldn't catch a football. But other than that, it's a give and take. It's players out versus players in. So for instance, this season
production.
That's true. This season will be in my opinion, in the way, unless something crazy happens, will be one of those years that the Steelers could profit multiple comp picks, because if you think about the players that they could be losing, right, and they don't have money to really bring anyone in. So because of that, if they lose Javon Hargrave, BJ Finney, trying to think of another unrestricted free agent that might be gone, but those 2 players, if they both go and get paid, possibly, if they go and they get paid, then the Steelers will reap the benefits of that if they don't go and get free agents themselves. So that's something to keep an eye on. But that was the news this week. Lance and I...
Correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff. The highest level of compensation you can get is a second round pick, correct?
Not sure if it's a second or third. I don't think they give out second round comp picks. I thought third was the highest.
Okay. Yeah, I know it's not first. It's probably second or third. I thought it was second, but I'm sure Dave knows that. The Oracle is listening. So if you're listening, Oracle, chime in. It's probably a third. I thought it was a second, but it's probably a third.
And if you're in the live chat, let us know. By all means, we trust your expertise to watch live out there in YouTube land. But, Lance and I were talking, and Dave just chimes in, third is the highest. So that's right. That's what I thought. Lance and I were talking, this whole CBA thing is really killing us because it's stalling everything. It's pushing things like the franchise tag back. And so here we are as podcasters that are giving you 7 days of content, 7 podcasts minimum a week. And we're like, man, if they could just figure something out, whether it's don't do the CBA and we move through 2020 with the same rules that are in place now, or change the CBA, go with the proposed CBA, and then we can move forward with maybe a new salary cap, restructuring contracts. In other words, it gives us news. Right now, we're like in a holding pattern. We're like that cruise ship out by Lance's work.
Yes.
You can't go anywhere.
Stuck.
So I said, you know what? Let's do a little either or tonight, Lance. Let's just shake it up and let's do a little either or as I dubbed it in the headline of the podcast to maybe get more people to check it out. Some winners and losers. We're going to look ahead to 2020 and we're going to kind of figure out we want to get your input. Who's going to do well? Maybe who's going to do better than others? You'll get the gist of it as we go. Are you ready, Lance?
I am ready.
All right. Either or. First one. Those watching live, get ready. I want to hear your thoughts in the live chat. Who will have a better season in 2020? Juju Smith-Schuster or Deontay Johnson? It's a tough one. Go ahead.
That's a tough one. Let me lay it out. Let me lay out the stats to further make the case compelling. Deontay Johnson played 16 games. Juju played 12. Deontay Johnson had 59 receptions to Juju's 42. He was targeted more, 92 to 70. He had more yards, 680 to 552. Juju averaged more per catch, 13.1. And Deontay Johnson had 2 more touchdowns, 5 to 3. So if I look at the stats and I look at the top 3 receivers, Juju, Deontay Johnson, and James Washington, I think Juju is going to have a better season. I think had Juju played 16 games, his numbers would have obviously been better than Deontay Johnson's. But I'm going to throw a little wrench into this, Jeff. I think Juju's going to have a better year, but I don't think either one of them are going to have a Pro Bowl year as a wide receiver.
Will one of the two lead the Steelers in receiving yards, or will someone else maybe step up and shock everyone, like someone like James Washington?
I'm going to say it's going to be a running back that gets yards after the catch and gets a ton of targets. And
that's not good for our offense.
And they utilize the short passing game to matriculate the ball downfield.
Okay.
But I'm going to say so. I'm going to say Juju has a better year than Deontay Johnson in 2020 because I think he's a better player, but I don't think either player will be a Pro Bowl receiver next year.
I'm going to say that one is going to help the other. In other words, Deontay Johnson being more of a threat is going to help Juju Smith-Schuster. I'm going to say that Deontay Johnson is going to have more receptions. Juju Smith-Schuster will have more yards. So let me ask you this last one. And Ryan Kellerman says, "What is Lance on?" I honestly don't know. We'll have to. Which would be more indicative? Yes, exactly. Which would be more indicative of a great season? Receptions, yards, or touchdowns?
Touchdowns, baby. Touchdowns.
Okay, what about if you take touchdowns away? Yards or receptions?
Yards.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Give me yards, like yards per catch. Like, you can have more receptions, but if you're averaging 19 a catch, I'll take that.
I thought you were going to go with Senior Slim. Oh, that was the wrong one. Who said that the best stat is wins.
He's absolutely correct. That is the best stat. Big up Senior Slim. Okay,
next one. Let's go to the next either or. Who will have a better season in 2020? Same question, different players. Mr. Benny No Jets or James Always Hurt Connor?
Benny! Looking at their stats, it's like, well, they both sucked last year. You can't really criticize Benny because he was a rookie. But James Conner started 10 games. He played in 10 games. Benny Snell, 13. Conner, 116 attempts. Benny Snell Jr., 8 less, 8 fewer, 108. Conner, 464 yards. Snell Jr., 426. One average. Conner, 4 yards per carry. Benny Snell, 3.9. Connor had 4 touchdowns. Benny had 2. They were essentially the same player. I mean, to be honest, they were almost like bad squared. But if I looked at that, I would think Benny Snell Jr. will have a better year because the critical number in comparing the two is one played 10 games and one played 13. I have no faith that James Conner is going to stay healthy. Thus, I think by default, Benny Snell football will have a better season than James Conner.
I'm going to go with Conner based on the fact that Conner is going to have to get hurt for Benny Snell to have a better year.
Well,
and even if
he's going to get hurt,
I'm not saying he's not going to get hurt, but even if he plays in 12 games, that's going to really limit Snell's potential. It's going to limit his chances of having a better season. So I would say if I'm Vegas, I'm putting the over under on James Conner games played at 12.5. You taking the over or under?
Under.
Really? Okay. 10.5. 10.5.
I'm going under. I'm going like 8, 9.
Oh my gosh. How many games is he playing this year?
10.
That's still 10, and he was hurt almost all whole year. You're saying 8?
I'm going to say like 9, 10 max.
Okay. All right. I'm going to take over. I think James Conner is going to be more of the 2018 James Conner than the 2019 James Conner. So we'll see.
How about the 2018 and a half James Conner? Can we get that one?
I see what you did there. I see what you did there. All right. Now, next one, we go to the defensive side of the football. And this position did not have a lot. Well, I guess check that. They did more interceptions between the two starting cornerbacks. That would be Joe Hayden or Steven Nelson.
Minkah Fitzpatrick. Oh, excuse me. He's not
not an option.
I can't say Minkah Fitzpatrick. I'm going to say more interceptions will be Hayden. I think Hayden will be targeted more, but I think Nelson is the better corner. Because he's the better corner, I think they will stay away from him more. And so I think that Hayden will get more opportunities to get picks. And so I think it's going to be Hayden because he'll be more targeted.
What was the tail of the tape this past year? Nelson had 1 against Buffalo. Hayden had 3, or was it 4?
Let me look and see if I could find it quickly. Let's see here. Interceptions. If I sort this here. Joe Hayden had 5 interceptions.
5. Okay.
He had 5 interceptions. Minkah Fitzpatrick had 5. TJ Watt had 2. Devin Bush had 2. And Nelson, Hilton, Edmonds, Barron, Sutton, and Cam Kelly all had 1 interception.
Yeah, Cam Kelly's was off the tip. I mean, I listened to those numbers. You have linebackers that had 4 interceptions. Do you really think that can hold up in 2020? That was an article I published today. It's like, can the Steelers go into 2020 and actually say, we're going to bank on some turnovers? I don't think you can.
No, you can't. I mean, they combine the linebackers. So the linebackers, so that's 4. You throw in Barron. The linebackers had 5 interceptions as a group. You can never bank on interceptions. You just have to play sound football, get close to the ball, rally to the football, get pressure, good coverage, and hopefully it results in turnovers. But I'm gonna go with Hayden to have more interceptions. What was your answer?
I haven't given it yet. I want to say Steven Nelson, but I agree with what you said and how I think he's the better cornerback, and quarterbacks are not going to throw his way as much. It was crazy how last season it was the Buffalo game, which ironically was the game that he had his lone interception. He got burned a couple times, and fans were up in arms like, look, this guy's been rock solid all season. Right. In today's NFL, there's no more Revis Island. You're going to get beat. All the cornerbacks get beat sooner or later. You just hope it's not at a critical moment or a crucial spot in the game. I think he's that good. I think Hayden also has good ball skills. At least we finally saw some in 2019. Hopefully that carries over to 2020. So I'm going to go with Hayden as well. Actually,
and Edmonds is getting killed in a live chat. And actually, the Edmonds who had an interception was Trey Edmonds.
Trey.
It was his brother. So I did that on purpose because I knew people would say, wait a minute, Edmonds didn't get a turnover. He's never had a turnover. He had a turnover as a rookie. He had one interception as a rookie against what, Tampa Bay? I think it was.
Yeah, I think so. He's not around the football. When we saw it in Arizona trying to defend the pass, it's like, what is he doing?
Yes, he is not defending the pass nor anywhere near. Like, that was terrible. I mean, that pick was right to him, and he mistimed his leap and gave up a touchdown pass.
It's one of the few times that you can kind of see the play unfolding in front of you, and you're thinking that's an easy pick. Nope. Touchdown.
He got nervous and said, "Oh no, my job is to catch the football." No, it's not. No.
Okay, we're gonna stay on the field. Ready?
Yes.
Stay on the defensive side too. Who has more sacks in 2020? TJ Watt or the field? Now, that, for those that don't know, that's a Vegas term for someone else other than TJ Watt. So TJ Watt's coming off a 13.5 sack season. That's impressive. But Lance, who you got?
It's going to be interesting because if there's no Dupree, TJ Watt is really going to be the focus of slide protection. If you guys don't know what slide protection is, when a line tilts one way to, pass block against a particular defender, you slide protect, or you double team a guy as well. So TJ is there's going to be a lot of slide protection. There's going to be a lot of chipping. He's going to be getting chipped by tight ends, backs coming out, double team blocked. And if Bud Dupree is gone, I don't know if there's going to be a person to offset some of that, where I'm going to go with the field. I'm going to go with somebody else in the field has the equal number of sacks or possibly more. So I'm thinking that TJ's total comes down closer to 10, maybe like 9.5, but another guy gets more sacks to make up for his lost sacks. So I'm going to go with the field.
Okay, so let me ask you this question, because I'm going to take TJ Watt. Because you talk about slide protection, you talk about extra tight ends, chipping from the backfield. That's all. We know that. You're telling me, though, that Bud Dupree in an 11.5 sack season, now we're assuming that they keep him at least for 2020. Let's go with that assumption. That he was that disrespected by opposing offenses that they never once had. I mean, TJ Watt faced this type of offensive adjustment all season, I think. I mean, he was beating everybody. It's not like it was the first running back to ever chip him. And not to mention, okay, I see what you're saying, and I'll grant you that point. Who's going to be coming back to the lineup that's going to be standing right next to him?
Stephon Tuitt.
Yeah. You don't think that matters?
That matters. So I'm going to go. So I'm just going with the field. I think it's going to be.
Okay. Who do you think is going to be?
I think he's going to have, I think it's going to be the same as Wreck-It Ralph. I think they tie at 9, but then Tuitt chimes in with like 7 or 8, 8.5, somewhere like that.
Yeah, 9? I think he at least gets 10.
I'm going to TJ's the focus is going to be on him. He's going to have to ball out if there's no Dupree to get to 10. I mean, he's going to ball out anyway, but all the attention is going to be centered on stopping him.
Maybe. We'll see. I guess that's the thing I ask is, I mean, you said they're always going to be focused on stopping him. You don't think that was the case coming into 2019?
I do, but I don't know if it'll be as I mean, I think after this year, I mean, I'm sure there was a ton of focus on stopping him, but after his last year, and you don't have another principal pass rusher to kind of even it out. And no, I am not suggesting that Bud Dupree was the reason he had a great year, because I know I pissed off Anthony Blewett. Is it Blewett? It'd be great if his last name was Blewett. Ah, you blew it. That'd be great. But I think we'll see, because I think offense will definitely really try to be stopping TJ, because you can't slide protect every play. You can't chip all the time. And sometimes you get one-on-one situations But I'm gonna go with the field. I'm gonna go with the field.
Okay. You took the field, and I took TJ Watt. Let's go to another one. This is an interesting one. This is kind of multifaceted. And Anthony says that you pronounce it correctly. Anthony blew it. He said, all my life. Oh, goodness.
Yeah, man, that's
All
tough.
right.
That's tough. I just want to apologize for you.
So, more starts. Now, cat's keyword. More starts, not better season, not better stats. More starts in 2020. Mason Rudolph or James Conner?
I'm gonna. That was a great one, Jeff, because Jeff came up with that one. That one's kind of funny. It better be James Conner, because if it's Mason Rudolph, man, our numbers will be terrible. Our numbers will be terrible. People will stop watching, and yeah, it'd be really bad. It's got to be Connor's going to have more starts than Mason Rudolph.
I agree with you, and that's just like you said. We better pray that James Conner has more starts than Mason Rudolph, because if Ben Roethlisberger goes down again, oh yeah, that's another 2019 and 2020. Man, it's just gonna be another year of that inconsistent quarterback play.
I think we teased this hypothetical. If Ben goes down and misses, let's say 8-9 games plus, I think you got to really think about giving him the scissor mode, a trim from Supercuts in the 2021 season.
You're meaning just cutting ties with him?
Yes, he might have to get a Crovatis.
Well, it's interesting. That's something like that. That's what we talked about a little bit on Sunday was, man, worst case scenario, what if Ben comes back and sucks? Or what if he gets hurt again? And then you're like, now what?
Then it's a business. Then it's a business.
Oh yeah.
And, then you got to move on. The franchise lives on. Thank you for your service. Snips.
And he can't be upset if he gets re-injured, or if he's like, I don't have it anymore. He's laughing all the way at the bank. There's a lot of guaranteed money in that contract, so he doesn't care.
Mr. Positive Hater, Lance.
There you go.
That's a great term. The positive hater. I love that. That's a great one.
Is that such? Can that be a thing? Like positive hater? You're definitely a hater, but positive hater?
Well, ask Ron. I mean, I guess Ron will chime back into the live chat. Ron, you've got to answer that question. Can you be a positive hater? Well, I coined the phrase the positive hostage. You can be positive, but you can hold your franchise hostage. I mean, you can be an older player that brought in a ton of success to an organization, but later in your career, you become an albatross on the salary cap. They really need to move on from you, but they can't because you had a positive impact on the franchise. I'll give you a perfect example. Eli Rogers. Not Eli Rogers. Why did I say Eli? Eli Manning. Excuse me, not Eli Rogers. Eli Manning was the positive hostage. They won a couple of Super Bowls with Eli, but he was a bum late in his career, and he counted like 20-something million on the salary cap. So, wow, hopefully that's not true with Double H.
I'm reading the live chat too.
Yeah, I'm like, wow. I did see that the Thunder game was postponed prior to tip-off, and I don't want to say what he typed in the live chat because I don't want to corroborate any information that I can't.
Wow, Dave Schofield is corroborating.
Well, if the Oracle said it, wow, then this just this pretty much
canceled.
This is the worst case scenario for the NBA. This is real. I mean, this is wow.
Do we go right into the topic?
Yeah, we might as well just jump into the topic unless there's any of the other questions that you want to talk about. I think that was the last one, anyway.
Yeah, there were a couple other ones, but we can talk. Okay, so for those that are listening live or maybe in an audio platform, you probably heard the news that I guess the NBA season has at least canceled the rest of their season. I'm not sure. I haven't seen obviously we've been on the air, so I haven't seen anything, but I guess a player for the Utah Jazz might have contracted the coronavirus. Therefore, just like a lot of events are being canceled throughout the country, and it's crazy times right now. As someone that is a health guy, I definitely am curious about this stuff going on. And I don't know what to say. The Steelers released a statement. I guess Burt Lawton, the director of public relations, he was asked by NFL Network's Tom Pelissero, what's the Steelers' deal with pro days and stuff, and they said that they're still going to be attending, but their scouts are going to be going like private jet, or they're going to be driving. They're not going to be flying any type of commercial flights, which I guess are still going on for now, at least in the continental United States. So, okay, Reed Overand says that the NBA is suspending the season until they figure out how to deal with it, pretty much. The NHL they're getting to the point where, like, for instance, the Pittsburgh Penguins are playing the Columbus Blue Jackets tomorrow, Thursday night. No fans are going to be allowed in the game. So they're going to play with an empty arena. That's got to be unbelievably strange for an athlete if you think about it. We know that the Ivy League canceled their basketball tournament, and now the NCAA is basically saying that for them and March Madness, only close family, relatives, and the people that are working with the teams, like the trainers and the officials, are going to be allowed in the arenas. Lance, just give me your general thoughts on what's happening here. The impact on sports is very obvious, but I'd like to get your take.
Yeah, I mean, I'm part of a live chat that I have. I chat with my cousins and, my brother and really close friends. And we've been going back and forth about everything today. And my cousin Kamal, if he's listening to the program, hopefully he'll listen to the program. He made a very good point about players being human too. And I think when you get to my age, I'm close to 50, I think you realize the economic impact, unfortunately, first. And I think with most sports organizations, they see players as commodities and not human beings. But indeed, players are human beings. They have families, so on and so forth. And I am not surprised that the NBA was going to wait until someone was infected before they took the next step. The first step was going to be play in empty arenas. The next step would be, we'll figure out what we're going to do if someone gets infected. I don't think that any league, if they chose to terminate the season, would be overreacting. I think it's an extreme liability issue, and it's a public safety issue. And so, I think it's critical that people take a step back before they take a step forward and err on the side of caution. It's wild that I've never witnessed something like this in my lifetime. And you can be jaded at my age that it's all about the money, but it's all about your health. Health is wealth. And hopefully those players don't get too sick, or that they infected anyone else on the staff, so on and so forth. But right now, I mean, it's if you're the NBA, I mean, this is the worst case scenario for the NBA. And with that being said, for the Steelers and traveling and going to places, I mean, in California, in certain counties, they have limited assemblies to 1,000 or less. Honestly, I think it's pretty irresponsible for the Steelers to send guys on planes to go places and try to manage it. The best way to manage it is to not go to pro day visits. Go to tape. I mean, just
will there be pro day visits to even go to? My guess is no. I'm pretty sure so. Universities, I know that in our area in Maryland, the University of Maryland, Towson, UMBC, and a bunch of other universities in the area, West Virginia University, have all sent students home early. And they said after this, it's all electronic. So therefore, if athletes aren't on campus, I doubt that the football program would get the green light to be able to. But then again, you look at some place like Alabama, Nick Saban walks on water. He might say, I'm going to have some workouts. And be like, okay, that's fine, coach.
Here's what the Steelers should do, in my opinion. If a player wants to come to do a workout, you send that player a ticket, you make that player sign a waiver, and you have that player train on your facility or a field that's in Pittsburgh. But traveling around the country, no. This is really weird. I think the pro days are going to be canceled. I think that's the
Yeah.
responsible thing to do. And maybe it's private workout. Somehow you figure that out. But this is going to impact the draft. It's going to impact almost everything.
I'm curious what the NFL is going to do with the draft. Now, they have a little bit of time. It's not until the end of April, I believe. They're going to have a little bit of time to figure out how they want to handle that in terms of, will they still have it in Vegas? Will it be just kind of like the NBA lottery with the ping pong balls, and all of a sudden, someone stands up, the representative from organization says, up, the Steelers have taken in the second round with pick blah, 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 this player. And there's just not the pomp and circumstance. I think the draft will still go on. Shoot, they don't need anybody there for the draft anymore. They everyone could be in their own organization. So the Steelers would be at the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex, and they could be sitting in a room watching on television or on a special feed that all teams will have. And when it's their time to make a pick, they pick up the phone like they already do in the draft, call in their pick, and then there they go. And so,
yeah, they're staying home. They're staying home.
Yeah.
Like
Ron
that
Chest
event
is saying in the live chat that they're saying no fans at Vegas for the draft. I haven't seen that official, but then again, I haven't been paying attention, so it could have been made official, and I just didn't know.
I mean, I have some friends that were going to, I think it's called Stagecoach, which is the country version of Coachella. I think that's what it's called. And it's just flat canceled. Coachella is canceled. Like everything is canceled. Like, I mean, they're canceling everything. And I know at my daughter's school, and we talked about it, Jeff, that they're doing a test run to see if the kids can do school from home, because a majority of them were given as part of tuition and all that stuff. They have like MacBook Pros or iPad Pros or whatever they're called, and so if you have good Wi-Fi, you're going to be taking classes at home.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, we've been through a lot of weird stuff in just my lifetime, whether it's the H1N1, which was a swine flu, or a bunch of the other things. And this seems to be a little bit more legit than any of the others. And so, do your research, folks. Basically, do your research. Don't trust everything that you see. Isaac puts $5 in the.
I can't help but laugh.
Yeah,
I don't want to laugh. See, that's cold. Isaac,
he said this NFL season will be played on Madden if this continues. And at this point in time, and look, I listen to sports talk radio on my way to work, on my way back. That's an overall hour and a half in the car, okay, every day. And when I listen, this has dominated talk, because this is now spilling into sports. We ultimately understand that this is minuscule compared to the global and our country in terms of the health crisis that we might be facing. But sports is being impacted, and so that's why we talk about it. Will it impact the football season? Actually, the football season? I sure as heck hope not. It's going to take time, but I don't. No one knows. No one knows.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's another rumor floating around. Well, it's breaking news. It's on CNN now. Tom Hanks and his wife test positive for coronavirus as well. So Forrest Gump got it.
But now it does not mean he's going to die from it. He is just tested positive for it. So let's keep all this in context. That not everyone that contracts the virus ends up dying from it. If you do some research, it's not that I'm not taking it lightly. Trust me, I'm not. I'm a fitness guy. I'm a father of 5. Trust me, this has definitely been red flags up and down. But at the same time, let's see how things play out here. And it's scary. It's absolutely scary. So I don't know.
You guys are terrible.
That's horrible.
I had to put that. You guys are terrible just to bring some.
You're just as bad for putting it on the screen. That was Lance, not me.
That's terrible. He's actually from Oakland, California. So Tom Hanks went to Skyline High School, the same high school as Gary Payton. So he's and the ship is here. The irony is, the ship is docked in Oakland. This is real. I mean, this is absolutely real, and I don't think it's wag the dog. I mean, I don't think you release a pandemic on the world because it's an election year. I mean, I'm not that jaded. I mean, that's a ton of jade right there. That's the greenest jade ever in the sea. But yeah, man, this is real. Apparently, they caught the virus in Australia.
That's crazy. That is crazy. And the thing is that it's one of those situations where it's totally unprecedented. Someone asked in the live chat earlier, I mentioned the Penguins game, which I'm not even sure will still happen. They might have changed their mind, but I mean, in the state of Ohio, the governor said there's not going to be any public gatherings of over X number of people. Therefore, sporting events, if they're being played, will be played to an empty arena. So if the Penguins still play, I can't remember a time that's happened.
Let's tease this out, Jeff. Rudy Gobert is the player from the Utah Jazz who tested positive for coronavirus. What's the incubation period that they're saying? Like 2.5 to 3 weeks?
No, they're saying that before you start exhibiting symptoms, is that what you're talking about?
Or just before they feel okay for you to return to be around people?
That I don't know. I know that you can have the virus in your system. Some people can be
they're saying
14 days, but that's until symptoms
days.
start to arise. So you can be asymptomatic, and there's some people that have no signs or symptoms. Like I wouldn't be shocked if every professional sports team is testing all their players whether they're sick or not. And so this center from the Utah Jazz that you said, I don't know who he is. I don't follow the NBA, but he might have been, I feel fine. What are you talking about? Let's go play ball. Actually, you're not fine. You actually have the virus. So there you go. Double HH says, my kid's school closed since a parent attended a party where 2 people later diagnosed had the virus. Today, 4 more people from that party tested positive. So his high school closed down for all of March.
Yeah, I would imagine that the Utah Jazz's season, either they're going to suspend the whole season indefinitely till the Jazz can play again, or the Jazz's season is over.
You can't just cancel one team's season.
So you can't. So they'll suspend the season until Jazz players can play again.
Now, in Indiana, like Mark Tobin asked, do we have a cure? No, there's no cure. There's no cure for any virus, really. Basically, what you have to do is you have to learn how to manage it. And so what's going to happen? It's going to take time. It's going to take months until enough people have it and enough people have beaten it that they develop an immunity to it, and then the virus will slowly die off. But this thing's not going away. Not anytime soon.
Love cures all.
There he is out in California, folks.
And Uber Eats. Love and Uber Eats. No way I get Uber Eats. I don't know I would never order Uber Eats. I don't trust people bringing fries to my house. Or I could be like, Jeff, not eat fries and have to worry about it. But Jeff, right, you'd have to worry about your burrito bowl on Uber Eats from Chipotle.
I guess I would have to worry about that. Yeah,
finger in Uber Eats.
The only fast food that I get, I'll be going picking that up myself. I don't even know.
Yeah. You do like a lot of guacamole on that thing.
Yeah, I do. But, this is, I'm just reading some of the people in the live chat, and there's just so many people that believe different things, and some are saying it's not that bad. Some are saying this is going to be years. No one knows, period.
Yeah,
no one knows.
Senior Slim has gone on a rant, sort of. But we love you, Senior Slim.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're like, me and Jeff are reading the live chat, kind of like, oh, wow. Like,
great audio here. This is a great.
Yes, this is great audio. We're just shocked. I am absolutely shocked. I did not come home thinking that the NBA season would be canceled indefinitely. I knew it was a possibility, but man, it just is what it is. We're doing as good a radio as anybody else, so we're all just getting bombarded with it. But man, I think this really alters the draft. I think it alters visits. I think it's going to be a lot of evaluation of tape. So actually, teams might do a better job of actually picking guys. Guys are going to be sending in medical, all types of stuff. So I think everything's going to change with every big public gathering.
And with those changes, we will have you covered. We're not going anywhere. As long as there's internet, we will be doing our podcasts, and behindthesteelcurtain.com will be keeping you up to date on all things Pittsburgh Steelers. It might not be much, but we'll talk about whatever's going on. I know I have the Steelers stance on it. It's going to run tomorrow morning. So make sure you keep checking that out.
Oh my goodness, you guys are funny. Muhammad Al Ali says, guys, if anything happens, I just want to say sorry for making fun of your Wi-Fi, Lance. My Wi-Fi is solid now, though.
Took a while, but he's there. He's good.
My Wi-Fi is solid, baby.
So, all right. Anything to add?
No, you want me to take us out, Jeff?
Yes, let's do it.
And as always, tune in, tell a friend, and subscribe, and especially stay safe.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. We'll see you next Wednesday, hopefully, for another episode of The Standard. It's The Standard. Take it easy, everyone.